Blocking, one of the most essential features of any fighting game. I'm making a fighting game, but it doesn't have blocking. Oh, what's that? You don't know what my fighting game's about? Well, I'm making an indie turn-based fighting game called Bouters, where you strategically take turns against your friends and get an epic shonen-style anime replay at the end of the battle. But anyways, Bouters does not have blocking, but that isn't by design. I need to add blocking. You see, Bouters centers around doing as much offensive damage to your opponent so that you can get their fatigue up and knock them down so that you can snatch off their relic for the dub. But what if you don't want your opponent to get your fatigue up? Well, there are a few defensive things that you can do. There's dodge left, right, and back. You can evade left or right, and even roll out of the way. But why no block though? Well, you see, I actually do have block in Bouters. In fact, you can block high or you can block low, but at the moment, neither of them work. So today, I want to add in that functionality.
So there's a couple of ways that I can go about doing this. I'm not entirely sure what is the best way to go about doing it, but let's work this out in real time, or at least let's try to, and feel free to leave comments on whatever your thoughts may be. So these are the hitboxes for the hands that I'm using to do collision checks when you're trying to punch, etc, etc. And one way that we could go about implementing this is when you are blocking, we do a collision check for the hitboxes, and if an opponent's hitbox collides with your hitbox, then it will disable the opponent's hitbox, which I think is an interesting solution. The problem I see though, you don't have a lot of coverage. It only really protects your face, and so if the opponent goes for like a gut punch, then you're vulnerable. And it's not the worst solution, right? But at the moment, there's no block middle. So I'd either have to add that, or you'd have to do another action like dodge or evade or something like that. Again, it's not the worst solution, but it really begs the question, how does that design fit in with the philosophy of this game? Will it frustrate players to no end if the counter to a high block is simply just going for a gut punch, or maybe attacking from the side? I don't know, but here's another option that we can do. Instead, there's like an invisible blocking collision that covers a little more area. Maybe make it a bit more bigger where it's like that. So if the hitbox collides with this block collision check, then it will make their hitbox, it will disable their hitbox. Yeah, obviously that's a little generous, obviously, but I mean, it's a video game, right? Like, I don't think when you play video games, especially not a game like this, you want it to be 100% accurate down to moving hair follicles. You know, games like that exist. Bosch exists for a reason. You know, if you really want that level of fidelity with hitbox collisions, you can just play a game like Bosch. I'm kind of leaning this approach. Block low. Probably need to move it though. Be more like this potentially, and then you'll have like head vulnerabilities perhaps. Yeah, so I don't know, I'm kind of feeling this. I think this could be a good solution, a good starting solution at least, for block low and block high. You know, you still have the vulnerabilities. If your opponent comes from the side, kind of screwed. Your fatigue still goes up, so you're not winning all that much. Let's implement it. Let's just see what happens, huh? All right, so we've got some movement going, but man, daily design challenges, I tell you, I'm kind of afraid of this approach because the whole idea, I think what really makes this game work is the deterministic nature of the game, that you're not really leaving anything up to chance. And what I'm currently thinking for this feature is that this is the area that the block covers, and if you are blocking, then it activates. If you're not blocking, then it deactivates. But initially, I wasn't planning on showing the player where this boundary is, of where you're safe and where you're not safe. But I think I kind of have to show it to the player so that they can better prepare for it on the frame by frame analysis. But then when I get into that, it's like, it's very ugly. I mean, I guess I can do like a Smash Bros style, like energy field or something for blocking. I always run into this issue when I make my video games and stuff, that my favorite thing in the world is storytelling. I love a good story, and I love things to be very cohesive. And if I create like a shader and a little graphic to display this like block shield thing to the player so they have the information, it's very vital, important information, I agree. But it kind of breaks the story that I had in my head about what Bouters is all about. You know, when it's all said and done, I have to realize that we're making video games. We're not making Hollywood cinema, you know, where every little detail matters. Fun comes first. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to continue going down this route. I'm just gonna implement this version that we've already discussed, and then I'll make a decision if we change it, keep it, or whatever, after I get some playtest data. All right, so I added a little bit of logic to the block boxes. That's officially what I'm calling them, block boxes, denoted by the green. But I'm not sure what happens. So let's find out together what happens when you hit a block box. Nothing. Nothing at all. In fact, wait, I should slow that down. He might be going through or behind. Let's see. No, I think that should have disabled it. Or I can hit a jab, but jab wouldn't do anything either way. Well, we can test if it disappears. It doesn't. Let's really get in there. It should disable the hitbox, but it doesn't. Okay, good to know. That's the data. That's all I needed to know. Okay, I think we're in a much better place now. We made some progress. What we are expecting to happen is when Swiss on the left throws a punch, it should disable the hitbox when it collides with the green block box that Genzo has up. All right, so let's throw a right jab. Let's see, activates. Didn't look like it did its job at all. We might get some answers here. We might get some answers here. We might get some answers here. Let's see what happens. Nope. Okay, it works now. You wanna know what the issue was? I simply just forgot to toggle is trigger on the block box collider. But check it out, it now works properly. If the AI will behave correctly and stay blocking, you'll see that the hitbox gets activated and disables before it even goes in. Activation, disable. See? Off to a good start. But our job's not done yet. Yo, what the hell is this bug? I've never seen this before. These should not be white. White indicates that the instructions are not complete. What happened to the JSON file? What is going on? I'm afraid. I'm scared. No transition for hammer fist to gut punch right. I've never seen this bug. I don't like this. Let's see here. If we do a search, hammer fist. That's correct. Wait, how did that get displayed? I don't like this. Oh no, this bug is gonna haunt me, I know it. I can't even begin to think, how do I repo this? Ripperoni. But that's for another day.
Alright, so for a MVP, I think that the feature looks pretty good. What we haven't, oop, I got smacked. That also should disable. Is it on forever now? Now it's on forever. That should have disabled. Okay, good to know. Okay, sorry about that. I fixed that bug, but now to talk about what I really want to talk about, there's only one last thing that I want to fix for the system before I mark it done, good enough for the MVP, if you will. And that is, if you check this out, when I block, there is one frame where it disables, right? Which is a vulnerability. It's not really blocking if one frame, if you get hit during this one frame, then, you know, it's kind of an exploit. And the reason why this is the way that it is because of the system that I've currently built. It's just the way it works. But I want to change that. Long story short, the way it works is this is calculated based on how many instructions you have. So this update's going to kill a few birds with one stone. So I'm excited to do it. All right, and I believe it to be all fixed now. I'm gonna hit that block high. Immediately, I can tell that there's no more fatigue transition to the bases, but so now the block stays on, and then block to remain blocking, it costs you nothing now. So I'm gonna stay blocking, nice, and go low, shield stays on. Let me get in closer. So I can switch back to block high, stays on, block low, stays on. Swiss, where are you going, man? Why are you rolling into the camera? Now I can't see. But you get the point. It's all fixed now. But there's one more thing that I forgot, and that's block half. You see, there's this state when you transition from a block high to a jab where he does a half block. And you'll kind of see it. You'll hold one hand up. When I do this, let's see, jab. Let's make him jab left. Pay very close attention to Jin's over here. You see he held his hand up for a little bit, and I think it's kind of cheating if it stays full during that period. But I also want to leave it in. It's kind of an experiment. I'm really curious to see how people interact with it, because the truth of the matter is, when you are ducking, when you block low to jab, that doesn't happen. It just turns off. Yeah, I'm about to ramble, but ultimately I'm just curious to see how people interface with it. So I'm gonna keep it in. But what I'm thinking for it is that maybe the shield just like gets a little smaller. That's what I'm thinking. But all right, yo, here we go. It's a little jank, the half block, but it's good enough, and we can revisit it on another date. Check it out. So here's full block coming. That's full block, and then this is half block. Half doesn't really shield the top part, but we'll revisit this at a later date. It's good enough to get some feedback on. Moving on. See you in the next one.